I would like to call the May 27, 2026 regular board meeting of the Fenton Community High School District 100 Board to order. May I have a roll call?
White. Goodrich.
Yes.
McCullough.
Present.
Miller.
Here.
Lewis.
Here.
Rosinski.
Here.
Figueroa.
Here.
We have a quorum. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sam, please read our Fenton mission, beliefs, and Bison Way statements.
Absolutely. The Fenton mission statement: cultivate successful, passionate, empowered learners through rigor, relevance, and relationships. The Fenton belief statement: successful, passionate, empowered learners thrive when we provide a safe, caring, and welcoming environment. Diversity, equity, and inclusion unify our community. School and home collaborate as one. We champion innovative teaching and engaged learning with state-of-the-art facilities. We infuse social-emotional learning into academics and culture. We prepare students to fulfill their civic responsibility. We immerse students in authentic life experiences. The Bison Way. Students and adults at Fenton High School create a safe, caring, empathetic environment where we believe in each other, respect diversity, communicate openly, grow together, and hold each other to high expectations to become the leaders and innovators of the future.
Our next item is recognitions. Kate?
All right, good evening. We had graduation last week on Thursday, and today was our last official day of school. We go into exams until Monday, but even though we're wrapping the school year up, we're not done recognizing our students. So tonight I'd like to invite the following FCCLA students up to the front: Xavier Munoz and Madison Boyk. We also have Isabella Reyes, Roberto Salazar, Karen Hernandez, and Jalen Macedo, who could not be here tonight, but we'll also talk about their accomplishments. So tonight we're recognizing FCCLA, which means Family, Careers, and Community Leaders of America. It's a national organization where students have the opportunity to explore career opportunities and build real-world skills by developing projects, engaging and participating in events, and competing regionally and nationally for scholarships and awards. The work of FCCLA helps students and teachers focus on a variety of youth concerns and career pathways, such as education, hospitality, human services, and design. So these Fenton students competed in 3 events at the FCCLA statewide competition in Springfield on April 9th and 10th. Xavier and his partner Robert Salazar earned a gold medal ranking in the Entrepreneurship Food Truck Competition and won Most Outstanding Award for their competition group. So let's give them a hand. Madison Boyk earned a silver medal ranking in children's literature, so we're proud of her for that. And here's what the other students who couldn't be here accomplished. Jalen Macedo earned a silver medal ranking in children's literature. Karen Hernandez earned a bronze medal ranking in children's literature. And Isabella Reyes qualified to the finals and competed in the cookie decorating event. One of their sponsors, Miss Kelly Engel, she couldn't be here tonight because she is literally waiting for the next member of her family to arrive at any minute, but she did tape something for us, so we'll watch that.
My name is Kelly Engel, and I'm a family consumer science teacher and FCCLA advisor at Fenton High School. Today I would like to honor a few students for everything they've done for FCCLA this year. Karen Hernandez, Isabella Reyes, Madison Boyk, Jalen Macedo, Roberto Salazar, and Xavier Munoz for their accomplishments this past spring with FCCLA. FCCLA is a national organization where students have the opportunity to explore opportunities and build real-world skills by developing projects, engaging and participating in events, and competing regionally and nationally for scholarships and awards. The work of FCCLA helps students and teachers focus on a variety of youth concerns and career pathways such as education, hospitality, human services, and design. In April, all of these students advanced to the state competition in Springfield, Illinois, after competing in the regional competition in February at the College of DuPage in children's literature, cookie decorating, and entrepreneurship food truck. Karen, Maddie, and Jalen competed in the children's literature event, where they were required to submit a lesson plan of storytelling experience and perform their presentations in front of a panel of judges. Xavier and Roberto worked as a team and presented a food truck concept and business plan that was Guatemalan themed. Bella decorated a large cookie with various required piping and decorating techniques for a kid's birthday party that was Candyland themed. In combination with the regional and state competitions, students were rewarded with bronze, silver, and gold medal scores for their hard work. Roberto and Xavier received an award for being the most outstanding in their competition group, along with receiving a gold medal. We are proud to say that everyone is a dedicated family consumer science student and has taken many classes in our education and culinary arts pathway. I want to thank everyone at Fenton who supports FCCLA and the Family Consumer Sciences Department. Every day we are teaching lifelong skills and are providing opportunities for students to explore and train in various career paths. Ultimately, we want to thank students we want students to be prepared for their futures and make a positive difference in this world. Thank you so much.
All right, so let's give them another round of applause, and then we'll get pictures of the board. So if you want to walk around to the back. You can walk around this way.
Okay, next we're going to celebrate our very own Vice President, Leo Figueroa. Round of applause for Leo. We got word from the Illinois Association of School Boards, otherwise known as the IASB, that Leo is an established board leader. Now, one might ask, what is an established board leader? It's a local school board member who has accumulated 200 activity points by actively participating in training sessions, professional development, and the joint annual conferences provided by the association. So, as you know, Leo is also the DuPage County representative for the IASB. He's a director at large, so we appreciate his work with that. But Leo's a great example of a board member who's involved. He's president of the Fenton Foundation. He serves on the NEDSEC board. Food for Families events. Leo's always out there providing food for our families, amongst other things. Padres Unidos, he's a regular member of. So we just appreciate everything he does. And it's great that the IASB is recognizing him with this pin. So Leo, I'm going to hand you this pin. I'm not going to put it on you, but I have the pin here, and congratulations.
Karen, do we have any public comments?
No, we do not.
Our next item is informational. Sam?
Okay, so we got a wide variety of informational items here today, and what better way to kick it off than with graduation highlights?
Yeah, as I said, we had graduation last Thursday, May 21st. And it was a really great ceremony. We were thankful that so many parents could be there, parents and family members could be there with us. So a couple of statistics about the class of 2026 that were shared in graduation, but just to demonstrate what an outstanding class they are. We had 326 graduates. 25 of those graduates were recognized as Illinois State Scholars. 48 of them were members of the National Honor Society. 72% of them earned the seal of biliteracy, which is a record at Fenton, a record number at Fenton. 9 joined the United States military. As a class, they earned more than $4.7 million in scholarships and grants. And then, as you know, Fenton is unique in the fact that we require 25 hours of community service as a graduation requirement. Not all high schools do that. So they went way above and beyond. The class is a total 14,083 hours of community service, which added together is 1.6 years. So it shows how engaged all of our students were, and it was really a nice ceremony. So we have some pictures that we'll scroll through. So it was a really great evening. Thank you to the board members that were able to be present.
Okay. Is that on? No, there I go. Sorry, messed that up. So this evening, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how we've been working for the last 10 months to implement AI use at Fenton. So to just refresh people's memory a little bit, because I know there has been a lot of press policy that has come through the doors in the past year. In July of 2025, Policy 6.235 came out, and the overview of it was that you have to implement a plan this year, and you have to establish both staff and student responsible use guidelines. You have to make sure that all the AI tools that you're using are compliant with the law, and you need to make sure that people are getting training, both students and staff again, to make sure that we're using AI appropriately for the educational setting. And then finally, everything needs to be updated as needed. I was at a conference where the presenter said that the AI you're using today is the worst AI you will ever use in your whole life. So, 2 years from now, we could be dealing with something that we can't even comprehend right now. So we've kind of developed the mechanism to try to keep up with this as far as our implementation here at school this year. So moving on a little bit from there, as we began this whole process, a few of the administrative team members and our instructional tech coaches, who are also teachers, went to an AI leadership conference, and as we worked together, these 3 guiding principles rose to the top, and they are mirrored in language nationwide. This is not anything that's going to be revolutionary here at Fenton, but they're all very important. And the idea behind humans in the lead is that AI is an assistant. It is not replacing learning. And we're going to talk about how students and staff are going to model that and use it moving forward. Safety and privacy is just making sure that we're compliant and keeping kids safe in the building. And then equity and access. As a team, we really felt strongly that AI literacy is something that is a skill that students need for future readiness. So with that in mind, we feel like it's our job to make sure that they have all the knowledge we can possibly prepare them with for AI. So full disclosure, this image is a map of our process this year, but it is also AI generated. I used Google Gemini, and it's pretty remarkable. I had a list of 15 items, basically our timeline for this whole process, along with dates and a brief description of each thing we did this year, and I uploaded it into Gemini and said, please make an image that represents our process this year, and after only 3 revisions because of like major misspellings, we got to this point. So it looks cool. It took some work though. It didn't come out perfectly the first time, which would be something that I would share with students if I was showing them this as well. So I'm going to go over the philosophy and foundation. We'll talk a little bit about the implementation timeline that we adhered to. I'm going to show you what our classroom usage framework looks like, and then I'll talk about how we're going to provide ongoing development and support for teachers as they're working with students on this. Okay, so once we agreed on a philosophy, the first thing that we did was we put together an AI committee. And on the committee, we had administrators, we had teachers, and really what made it fun was that we had students who volunteered to be there with us. Haley Marin is a junior. I did not pay her to say this, but if I was going to pay a student to say something, this is probably pretty close to what I would want. It's very gratifying to see a student believe that this is what the process was, because this is exactly what we wanted it to be for the students who were participating. So the fact that I said, hey, like, would you share something with the board? And that's what she wanted to share. I was like, this is awesome. We had 3 sessions that were structured to help us discuss AI as a team and kind of figure out, what do we need here at Fenton? Do we all have a working understanding of AI and LLMs and all of that? And so we went from there, but it was a very rewarding process, I think, for the teaching staff and for the students who were involved. So these first things that occurred really were foundational. As leaders, we had 3 options as we saw it. Right at the beginning in October, we realized we can either limit this completely and try to block every single AI tool that we can think of, and probably still some of them are going to get through, and the kids can use it at home anyway or on their phone. We can leave the doors wide open so that they can use any AI tool that they would like. Or we can choose a middle path, and since we're a Google school, that means Google Gemini. So right now, the only OpenAI that is accessible through Fenton's network is Google Gemini. That provides a lot of guardrails for us. On all the Google Suite products, if kids type something about violence or that's dangerous or unsafe or concerning, we're alerted to that, and same thing for AI. So if there's anything being put into AI, we have a way to monitor that. So that's currently what's happening. And then on the instructional side, in January, we had teachers who began piloting some classroom frameworks for how we were going to go about using this with kids. So then when we got into implementation, and you're going to hear about some of these updates from Kate when I'm done speaking, but we felt like we needed to update the student handbook, and she'll talk to you about that later. And we were able to provide some PD pretty quickly. So there were professional development opportunities for teachers in April and May. Our instructional tech coaching team was integral for that. They were able to kind of I would say it was probably about 60 or 70 teachers that have been already served with some sort of professional development in AI. And I think we have about 108 or 110 right now for teaching staff, so I feel like that's pretty good since we haven't had our official rollout yet. We're looking toward a full staff training for the first time on our first Institute Day in August. So people that haven't had any AI training will, as far as like before we even start school. So every single teacher will have had a minimum of 3 hours when school starts in the fall.
Is hours for this implementation also included in some of the summer workshop hours and
Yep.
activities and things?
It's actually the major use of our summer workshop hours for teachers, yeah. So this is an overview. The language that we have for the website is much more detailed than this, but it's nothing that's going to be like earth-shattering here. We want teachers to protect personal data. We don't want them putting anything into an AI model that is going to have information that would be like identifiable for a student. We want teachers to verify and review the output from these AI tools, just like we want students to do it. like I told you, that image that I generated, I had to fix a bunch of spelling errors. So like that's a really simple thing, but sometimes AI is putting out stuff that is not reliable, and we need teachers and students to realize that, hey, you're going to have to verify and check some of this. The modeling transparency, I think, is going to be a big shift, and I think it's actually the most important part of all of this. When teachers and staff are using AI to enhance processes in the classroom, we want them to tell kids, like, hey, we just did this, and here's how I use the AI, and be really clear about how it was used. Because we also want kids to do that, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then finally, sensitive content, anything about...
Would that be done similarly, I guess, in my time, sourcing and referencing type deal?
Yep, and I have an example that I'm going to show you. So we just want people to be careful about, what they're putting in. The one good thing is with Google Gemini, they are not using our input for improving their models, so it's kind of a closed circuit. Like the kids' stuff doesn't go out into the world to help Google get better with their AI, since we're a school product.
In addition to Google Gemini, within the Google suite that you already have, what about Notebook LM?
Yeah, that's available as well. Yep, Notebook LM is part of Google, yeah. So then student integrity and safety, this is basically their responsible use. We are going to focus on authorized use with them. So right now, I think it's a little murky sometimes. Like a student will tell a teacher, well, I only used it for this part of my assignment. And the teacher didn't maybe explicitly say, well, you can only use it for this and not for this. So there's a gray area right now, and we're trying to get rid of that gray area, to be honest. So we're going to have students using it when they're authorized. We're focused on academic honesty. Just so you know, when we've had AI issues come up for the past year or two, we've addressed them under the plagiarism umbrella of our integrity policy, and we're going to be a little more explicit about that moving forward. We want students to understand that they need to protect their privacy. They shouldn't be putting in their info into AI either, so ID numbers, things like that. And then fact-checking, like just because AI gave it to you doesn't mean that it's going to be correct all the time, so you need to be aware and check your work. Okay, so for the classroom use, this is very simple. It's what a lot of schools are using, including District 2. It's a stoplight, right? And we have stoplights that are printed and available, but like a teacher could even put a stoplight icon on the top of a worksheet document or anything really. So we're gonna live in red, which is prohibited use. So the understanding in the building is that unless you've been told otherwise, you should assume it is not to be used. I think that's part of the gray area, right? But we can move on to other areas also where we talk about directed use and collaboration. But I think if there's an understanding that your work is typically going to be in that red area, then that dispels a little bit of the confusion. The directed use, so the yellow, would be for very specific things when the teacher is asking you to use it for a certain reason. I have a couple examples of that, like a math teacher who has a bunch of kids in the room working on a complex math equation maybe that has, let's say, 12 steps, right? That teacher, if the kids are struggling, has to run from group to group to group to figure out what they've done, where they're lost, where they went wrong. And if we can train students on how to use the AI to get them unstuck instead of giving them the answer, that's a pretty effective use of AI in a math classroom, as an example. Using GEMS, which I don't know how many people are familiar with them, but the gist of it is it's a framework that a teacher can set up for the AI that students can then use, and it'll lead them through a process that the teacher has designed. So we had an English teacher who created a gem to help students generate a topic, a thematic statement, and an organizational template for a podcast. So that's a lot, and kids struggle with that kind of a task. She said when she used the gem, all 27 kids walked out of the room with the topic, the thematic statement, and the organization structure, which one teacher with 27 kids, that is not possible to do. I've tried. So the fact that she was able to do that, also incredibly efficient. For green, that's like unfettered use. Like, go ahead and use it however you want for this task. Maybe it's sorting something. Maybe it's, I don't know, a kid that needs a title and is struggling, and the teacher might say, well, put your essay in and see what options it gives you and pick one, or maybe use a couple of options to create one that you like better. But it's for things that are not expressly going to replace learning. So that's the idea with the stoplight. And again, lots of districts using it.
What level of this implementation either supports or critical thinking skills? Because I guess in my private position, I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but some kids get to us in kind of a lack of critical thinking skills in their, be it in college or wherever. They just simply lack those skills by the time they get to us. New tools and new technology is great, but some things, critical thinking and those others, this can't be used as a crutch to move away from that.
Yeah, and I mean, it was interesting because when we were testing, like I'll use that GEM example I was just talking about, I was like, hey, can you share it with me so I can try it as a student? And so I was getting annoyed because it was asking me so many questions that were so detailed, and it wasn't letting me off the hook. It was actually doing a better job than I would have done myself with it probably. So I think if we're engineering these tasks correctly, it can actually help us enhance some of those critical thinking skills. But the kids need to be literate in prompting and things like that, so do the teachers. So we're going to get there eventually, but it's going to take some time, I mean, for sure. But yes, I understand exactly what you mean. Yeah.
What did you mean by we live in the red?
The red is the expectation for work unless you're told otherwise.
Meaning schoolwork.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a few questions.
Sure.
This seems to come from a very deficit perspective. And there's a lot of do not. Well, that's not guiding principles. Those are rules.
Yeah.
So let's call this what it is. These are rules of AI use. They're not guiding principles. There's nothing from an asset perspective. There's nothing thinking about how AI can be empowering. And to Carrie's point, I think there's real missed opportunity here, because the critical thinking component of this that can be beneficial is in understanding how to effectively engineer prompts. And telling our students not to use a tool that will be a part of their workplace, I think is incredibly short-sighted. And as I read this, I hear
what part are you reading?
The introduction. Fenton High School District 100 sees artificial intelligence as a tool to enhance learning and support the cultivation of successful, passionate, and empowered learners. But yet, what's being discussed here is we're not going to use AI.
Right.
So this just doesn't make sense.
Well, I'd like to respond.
Sure.
We are not at the point, I don't think, with the teaching staff or student knowledge where they can go just off to do the thing, right? We have teachers that are going to need training. I think for the next year, this is going to be a work in progress. I actually see a day where we probably shouldn't be tamping down every single AI tool. I think that they need to learn to use Perplexity and some of those other tools that right now are not available. I just don't think we're there yet because we don't have the cumulative knowledge as a staff yet. We're just beginning here. There are some people in the building who have a ton of knowledge, and there are some that have none. So we're kind of trying to address people's background knowledge at the moment.
Well, that seems like a wonderful opportunity for PLCs and to do some PD. So are there plans to do that?
There are. I'm actually going to get to that. Yeah. Okay. So with transparency, this is an example. Carrie mentioned like being able to cite your sources kind of thing, like attributions. This is an example of an attribution. So what I didn't mention, that graphic that I showed you at the beginning was developed with artificial intelligence, but so was the slide deck. And so to talk about prompting a little bit, I was able to put in that document that I mentioned to you with the brief descriptions and all the bullet points and dates and all that. And then I was able to explain, I need a slide deck, I need it to do these things, here's my audience, and it produced this slide deck for me. Now, it did not produce the slide deck you are looking at, exactly, because I did another hour's worth of work to revise it and make sure that it said what I wanted it to say. But I would say it saved me about an hour of work from having to start from scratch with a slide deck. So there was still a lot of professional work involved, but it did save that like administrative task at the beginning of just finding the right slide deck, finding the right color palette, all that kind of stuff, because I labor over things like that. So it kind of cut to the chase for that part. So this is an example of what we would want from kids, saying, hey, I used Google Gemini 3 on May 13th, and here's what I used it for and how. We have a Google form right now that they can fill out that would also include a link to the chat, so the teacher would be able to see exactly what the prompting was, how it went back and forth, and maybe talk to a student about like, well, this isn't exactly how I wanted you to use AI, and I see what you wrote here. Let's talk about how you could have used it differently. So it'll be pretty transparent when students are using it, and teachers will be able to see what went on as far as the interaction between the AI and the student. So it's kind of like research, like you can use it, but we want you to admit and show how you used it, where, and why. Okay, so this was the final task that the AI committee completed for the year, and I think they did a really nice job here because it's very concise and it hits all of the right notes. So this was written from scratch with the kids, the teachers, admin, and they said, if we use AI, we must protect privacy, use it to extend our learning rather than skip the process, and take full responsibility for verifying the accuracy of our final work. So that's everyone in the building, not just students. Okay, so as far as building capacity and professional development, a couple of things that we've done so far. We had teacher-led PD, where the instructional tech coaches were able to offer 2 sessions, one for teachers in the STEAM areas, and then one for our teachers in humanities. And they were able to go through a lot of different best practices and ideas and things like that for AI use in the classroom. That was not a mandatory training, but I would say, well, actually, I know for sure, we had about 60 people go through those 2 sessions in April. We had our coaches deliver a 4-part series of lunch and learns that were focused on humanities and STEM integration using GEMS and how to have best practices on Gemini. And then a few of us DLs and then a few of our instructional coaches attended the National Literacy Institute Leadership Series for AI. And we have LTC, which is a not-for-profit ed tech company, coming in June and July to talk to our teachers. As I mentioned, that's workshop hours that you'll be voting on later. And then on the first day, they will be here also. And I've been working with them to plan those sessions so that everybody is getting something out of those, each time a little bit different. Okay, so to just go over compliance, we have a SOPA agreement with Google, so that is mandatory and it is complete. As the board policy is stated, this is going to be a work in progress, but it asks for the plan, and we have a plan. It's working and rolling, so this is not anything that we're going to be done with anytime soon. I envision this taking years, probably. We did have a legal review of the handbook language and user guidelines. Again, there was some collaboration with District 2 on our user language. And then for data and privacy content and filtering, there are people in this building much smarter than me that are doing that all the time to make sure kids are using it properly. Okay, and then the last thing is that I don't think like we can go on years and years telling teachers to show up for AI training, AI training, AI training, right? I think some of them might be sick of me already. So there is a very concerted effort moving forward to be integrating our AI professional development with current programming. So we'll have our coaches showing tips, tricks, information about AI as we're working on other things. We're about to finish this year, and that was our first year focusing on disciplinary literacy to improve student learning in the different areas, and this is a 3-year plan. So for next year, we have coaches that are going to be working on these ideas, but then also using AI to leverage some of these things we're working on in disciplinary literacy. So there's a bunch of us doing a book study, all of our coaching staff and some of our admin this summer on this book, which is awesome. It has a ton of things teachers can take right away and use from it in the classroom. Okay. Are there final questions? I mean, it was great that people were asking along the way, but what other questions do people have?
I don't see much about assessment. And I think that there are tremendous opportunities around peer and self-assessment to incorporate AI. I also think there are tremendous opportunities with staff having the opportunity to identify patterns in student work at the classroom level to then inform themselves and also the students what they're doing in alignment with objectives and learning targets. And I don't see any of that, and that disappoints me tremendously.
So that will be in our professional development along the way. It's not done. I mean, we haven't started that work, to be perfectly honest with you. We're not there.
Okay. It's just this is very much from a deficit perspective, and there are very many opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities to use this tool in an enriching way from both the teacher's perspective and the student perspective. The other thing I want to point out, under uphold academic honesty, it says staff should model the same transparency expected of students. And I really think this should read staff will model the same transparency. But I also think this is too rule-oriented. It's not looking holistically at opportunities.
Understood. And I think some of that is going to be up to how teachers are comfortable using it in their classrooms, because we have some teachers who are not interested in using it at all right now.
And that's where there has to be some education, because whether we like it or not, it's here.
Agreed.
And whether we like it or not, our students are going to be using these tools in the workplace, and they've got to be prepared for it. And it's not something that we can wait years to educate ourselves about. We've got to be doing it now.
Yeah, we're working on it. Thanks.
I guess I'm going to age myself with this comment or concern. I know with an initial rollout, there's a responsibility of the district to do training. But ideally, going forward and years down the road, it's not something you can train on. It must, at some point in time, be a minimum proficiency type deal with teachers.
Yeah.
Similar to computer literacy was. And, you know, I didn't regularly get behind a computer until I was in college.
Right.
You know, the big old MacBook, all-in-one type deal. It wasn't very prevalent, but it ain't training teachers in this. Necessary right now, but long range, it can't
Sure.
be. They have to show up with some
Yeah.
type of minimum proficiency at some point in time.
Yeah, they
And,
will eventually.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't, you know, it's just the ground, the initial rollout, which I understand.
Yeah.
As far as the,
Well, and-
that she was mentioning about the rules and those things, I get, ideally I agree with, but it's, with anything new, it's not always receptive. It's simply what's necessary.
Yeah.
And you do have those pushbacks, so
Yeah,
I get
and I
it.
mean, it isn't even just teachers. There are kids that don't want anything to do with it either. I mean, in talking to kids, I had a really bright student that I talked to in the fall who was like, I don't touch it because I don't want to be accused of cheating, or I don't want to do something that I wasn't expected to do and do it wrong. Like there are kids that are a little bit afraid of it right now. So, I mean, we all have to get there together, but mindset work takes a little bit of time. So. we're working on it.
But I will admit, it would have been easier getting through college with the internet.
Sure. Yeah. With AI too.
Just two quick things. A lot of wonderful discussion, and I don't truly understand this. I will openly admit it. I have a lot to learn. I like the dialogue and the back and forth. I see that this is just the beginning. I think it's good we at least spelled certain things out so the kids know where they stand, and as we learn and we grow and we adjust, I get that. My only question, the only thing I didn't, have we talked to District 7? Did they not have any input for us?
They were beginning their process.
Oh, so this is okay, got it.
Yeah.
So there's more to come, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, everybody kind of had to start doing things, like as far as, I mean, there were districts that were ahead, but like July 1st was the start date for a lot of people when that policy came out, you know, in my discussions in the area, so.
So we're not as far along as I had hoped, but we're ahead of other people, and this is going to be a work in progress, and you'll keep us
Certainly.
informed.
I mean, I think that there are probably districts that will have the language online because they're required to, but then what's happening in the building, I don't,
I get
you
it.
know.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you for all the work, and thank you all for the education.
I guess in adding to John's question, is there a plan or has there been any kind of collaboration with the feeder districts on mirroring or consistency across
Yeah.
K through 12 with this?
District 2, I mean, yes, District 2 is using a lot of the same, they're using the same framework that we are, and there's a lot of the same language between. But I mean, the thing is, this language is similar in any plan you're going to see because it's coming from models, like federal models.
Are they also using the Google platform?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So it's nothing new when they get here.
yeah.
Okay.
And they're actually limiting AI for kids, I believe, like it might be till 5th or 6th grade where kids won't use it at all there, so.
Okay.
More about the language and not necessarily having it from a deficit mindset or a not to list.
Yeah.
Because it still appears a little bit vague in the revisions to the policy where it's just saying AI. It's not specifically stating like acceptable use
Sure.
with the district tools versus if I'm at home using ChatGPT by myself. And I
Yes.
think that's an important distinction.
Yeah.
Because like if we had to like discipline someone, it just still feels a little bit vague regarding acceptable use versus not acceptable use,
Yeah.
and making some distinction between the tools that we provide. And I have the same comment about living in the red. I think we should live in the yellow.
Yeah.
With, we do want you to use it, but we want you to use it under our direction and not starting from the place of, no, it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Next topic.
Yeah. So separate than what Steph was talking about, but much related to it. Every year we have the conduct committee, which is made up of deans, certified staff members, students, and parents, and they review the student handbook and have discussions around disciplinary issues. This year, all of the issues that came up were related to the use of AI, some of it coming from the AI committee, but some of it coming from press policy and the model student handbook, which is always the guideline for this. So just to quickly go over, there's 3 changes or 3 areas that were changed. So the first is under student conduct in the classroom, which it used to be misuse of electronics, but now it's misuse of electronics and technology. And so this is specifically talking about using AI to generate, possess, or distribute explicit images. So that's something that we've talked about. We've seen it in press policy, so that is making sure that we have that in there for that specific purpose. The second one is what Steph was talking about, really trying to talk about, we call it our academic dishonesty policy, or most teachers call it the plagiarism policy. So it was breaking it down to really say cheating and plagiarism, what that is, unauthorized collaboration, so cheating in groups, and then adding in the misuse of artificial intelligence. The consequences and procedures stayed the same, and that gives us a lot of leeway. The teacher will notify parents and guardians, and then we take steps from there. If we see that this is severe or repeated, that's when more stringent consequences could come in, but that, again, there's a lot to our discretion. So it was updated to include the use of AI. And then finally, the last area that we distributed, this was from the Model IPA handbook, talking about this was under bullying and cyberbullying, and again, has to go towards kind of sexting and the use of AI images. So the areas that are in yellow, we updated with the specific language from the IPA model handbook to make sure that ours matched that.
And just to add, we are going to ask for action later in the board meeting on this topic to approve these changes, and therefore we can get going on the student handbook for next school year.
All right, good evening. Good evening, board. We're going to transition to a topic that we've discussed multiple times over the past several months regarding the energy savings projects. And we are looking to get some guidance from the board with the final proposals that will be officially voted on that will be presented next month. And just on the screen, we have some upcoming slides with the most up-to-date financial information from Honeywell on our various energy savings projects. We're looking to gather, for me, I'm looking to gather a straw poll from the board just to identify to Honeywell what we would like to have them put in a final proposal for next June. And just as a sort of a reminder that straw polls are unofficial. You are not this is not a final vote on anything. It's just trying to gauge a sense from the board on how we would like to proceed moving forward. Straw polls are allowed in the Illinois Open Meetings Act, and reminder that a public final vote is not what we're looking for, just getting some of that feedback from you to prepare for that June 24th board meeting. The next slide here is showing the most up-to-date financial information on the 4 various energy savings projects. The first one being lighting, the second one being the building envelope, water, and solar panel. We had provided information from Honeywell back in April. I'll provide some basic updates on the differences between these prices in the second column from the left from what was presented back in April. The lighting is about $17,000 higher than what it was in April. The building enveloping is about $4,000 higher than back in April. The water is about $13,000 higher back in April, from April, and the solar is $1.3 million less than it was in April. And the next slide I'll explain reason why the solar panel particularly is significantly decreased. But along the rows as you follow, rebates, grants, energy savings, water savings, et cetera. And then that final to the right is the simple payback. So when we get to the notions of the straw polls, we'll break down each one of these four energy savings projects. And we can, in theory, if we approved or gave the permission to pursue an official quote from Honeywell for the June board meeting, we would have a combination of any one of these 4, and which would then be the final total for us to move forward. Talking specifically about the solar panels, once they went up and did all of their final reviews, took a look at all of their engineering, their architectural drawings, talked through with the O'Hare commissions and all the various items, they made a recommendation to not include the solar array on the stem wing. If you just take a look at the visual on the left-hand side, the vast majority of the solar panel array would be installed on the far eastern side of the building, and having to do connections from all the way on the western side of the building, in addition to having some of the air handling units and some of our various structures on the stem wing. They thought at this time it wouldn't be ideal to add a small section of solar panels so far away from the rest of the array and then have to connect electrical and do the interconnections, et cetera. They recommended that if we wanted to pursue down the road in the sort of the middle of our roofing within the building, if we wanted to add arrays down the road, then it would make better sense to add the stem wing at that time. And so removing the stem wing, in addition, there are a few other areas on the eastern portions where there are air handling units, some plumbing, and some other items on there. They reduced the amount of solar arrays and the overall cost of that project from about 2.7 down to that 1.3 or 1.4.
So when the cost reduction that you pointed out here in the previous slide, $1 million or so, that's because of the elimination of this part of the project?
Correct.
Okay. I just need to distinguish that between whether the prices have actually dropped, but that's not the case.
No, the prices have not dropped. It's just the
just a
amount of
matter of
work and
cutting the
labor and
project
materials. Correct.
And the amount of production will be less.
Correct. In terms of the biggest one, in terms of the energy, the simple payback is on the solar. We were at about 7.9 years of payback, and it went up because of that reduction of the solar panel arrays. That energy simple payback went from 7.9 to 8.4, but the remaining 3 other projects are roughly the same time of payback.
Maybe it's me. How is the water a part of this savings incorporated into that?
The majority of the water savings is going to be on the fixtures itself. When we have, instead of having fixtures that you open and close manually, they'd be adjusting those to the motion sensor, having also some restrictions on flow at the fixture level. That's where that majority of that energy savings in the water would be.
Okay.
If I recall, there was the last meeting before, one of the things that we discussed was that that there was a 3-year construction timeline before any of this even begins to pay back. In the meantime, we're paying out dollars rather than getting it back. Now, I thought that should have, if I recall, because it should have increased the total payback like almost 3 years from, I thought it was 12 years before. When you had 3 years of construction, doesn't that, boost it up to like 14 or something?
Correct. So the solar, and this is on future slides, but I'll do particularly the solar. The solar payback would be once the solar array is completed. So
once the solar array, well, then you gotta factor in, you're paying out money for a couple of years to get this thing even put together.
Correct.
And that the last time I thought we talked about a number that was like $1 million a year we had to pay to get it put for the construction, about round terms.
Yeah, we would have a payback schedule that would include a down payment. For example, we'd have a down payment after the June 24th board meeting. We would have a down payment due prior to that July 4th period to make that safe harbor portion, and then we would have additional
just
installment payments.
My concern is
along the way.
the energy payback number that you have there may be a tad misleading. But all right, go ahead. I'm done.
Part of with moving away from the recommendation of putting these solar panels on the stem wing, there was a state program of some reimbursements in there, or federal, I'm not sure which. Is that off the board now?
Provided that we make the initial payment prior to July 4th, we would still receive that ITC grant reimbursement, that rebate. That is the rebate that expires on July 4th.
And if I remember correctly, that was strictly for the solar?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm remembering all the facts.
So again, just kind of recapping what I stated earlier, we would need to provide a 25% down payment on whatever projects we decided to do as a board in the June board meeting prior to that July 4th to maintain that safe harbor requirement to lock in those energy savings. They would be able to work on the, if again the board wanted us to move forward with this, we would be able to begin working immediately on the lighting, the building envelope, the water energy savings as early as this summer. But again, we would have to hold off on doing any solar until minimally the summer of 2027 when we started replacing some of those roofs. And again, the reason those roofs were selected is because those roofs are all on, they've expired on their warranties and those roofs need to be replaced. We're hoping to have those roofs replaced as a part of our life safety bond. So that's a sort of another domino that needs to fall in order for the solar arrays to be installed. So we'd have to replace the roofs in the summer of 2027, and as those roofs are replaced, we would be adding solar arrays to those roofs. And then once the solar arrays were put on, that's when that energy savings would kick in, and that timeline of that 8.4-year payback would be complete.
I have one more quickly. You know, one of the things that's never been addressed in any of the presentations so far is, you know, my knowledge of these solar arrays is, you know, they've got a failure rate, right? It's expected. So let's assume for just a moment that they fail at some rate that is anticipated. The technology, as I understand it, for the solar stuff is changing so quickly. You know, 6 or 7 years, you know, ahead, or 10, whatever it is. Are we going to be able to get, replacement panels at this point? Or are we just going to be, you know, left with this thing slowly dying because the panels are failing and we can't do anything about it? Like putting in panels now to replace them. Is anybody in discussion on that?
I believe that's a valid concern, and having talked with our director of buildings grounds and various other maintenance teams and school districts, that's always a concern of with technology ever changing, and do you have the pieces to be able to replace parts and fix them, or do you have to just buy new?
Anyone should be able to give you some guidance on this if this is who we're talking about. If they can't give you an answer, that's a problem.
The Honeywell will subcontract out the work for the solar panels to be installed. Then there'll be a warranty, just like any other piece of equipment. There'll be a warranty, whether or not the warranty, if the product fails, is it the installer, is it the manufacturer, is it our maintenance? There's always those factors when you're installing machinery, for sure.
And we're in the middle.
Correct.
Go ahead, Mike.
Do we know how often they have to be cleaned? Is it every single year? Because that also is a lot of labor hours doing something like that.
They've informed us that in theory they should not be there should not be significant annual maintenance.
Okay.
The biggest concern that I had was in heavy snow time. There will be potentially some maintenance from our own maintenance staff if we do have a heavy snowfall and the solar arrays have snow that needs to be removed in order for them to work properly. We'd have to have our maintenance crew get up there and do some of that work. There's a light cleaning product that of course is applicable only to solar panels that can be put on annually to maximize the collection of the solar arrays and things like that. But they've assured us that it's relatively minimal.
Doug, when Reed brought up failure, had we consulted our insurance company, acts of God, tornadoes, hail? Is this going to up our building insurance as well? I mean, we do have hail. We do have tornadoes in this area. We have straight line winds. The more we talk about this, the more I'm getting a less than happy feeling, but it's just another unplanned potential expense that as soon as Reed mentioned failure, I started thinking about this.
Yeah, totally good. Insurance could go up for those things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a doggy downer, but I don't think that,
With anything with insurance, these would be added assets to the district that we would have to disclose to our insurance cooperative, and they would have to be insured as well.
All right.
It might be worth a call to the insurance guy before we get too far down the path. You know?
They could give us a very, very rough estimate. Yeah, but we're talking about trying to predict what they might insure or value that asset in 2027. You know, doing that a year plus from now.
Somebody should have some history on these, but I don't want to get too far afield on this.
Since I've been on the board, I've seen our operations and maintenance and expenses do nothing but go up, seem like every 6 months on a constant curve up. And I know there's been projects to help mitigate that. And I know there was an estimate done some years ago where, as part of the referendum, but it was estimated at about how long it's been, 80 to 100 million just on projects to address that. That's been chipped away over the last few years, but it's still a sizable portion that's been unaddressed. With that knowledge, we have to continue to do something to lessen our operation and maintenance costs for this was already a very old building.
When we began this conversation several months ago, that was the thought in mind. How can we find ways to mitigate some of our increasing expenditures in operations and maintenance? How can we generate some additional revenue? This is one potential way, but in this regard, you do have to spend some money to down the road make some money, if keeping it as simple as possible. But those are, of course, the reasons why we're weighing the pros and cons for all of this.
Now, I do have a question. This thing has been popping up in the meetings for the last 3 or 4 months. I haven't seen anybody own this, okay? Say, I think this is a good idea and I want to talk about it. If I can't get somebody to put their name on this thing and own it, to think that it's that good of an idea they're going to stand behind it, why should I do that? You know, if it's all just kind of staff doing this, doing that, come on. If it's a good idea, put your name on it. Is anybody willing to do that?
Yeah, Reed, to your point, Doug, I'd like to know what's your perspective on this.
I appreciate the question. I believe heavily in trying to do what Mr. Lewis had said, find ways. This is my job as the school business official to try to find ways to generate additional revenue, not on the backs of taxpayers, trying to find ways to mitigate expenditures and costs. I think this is certainly a way that we can go about it, but with in mind, we also are in a place where finances are a particularly challenging situation. I believe if maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when we had a little bit different financial projection as a district, this might have been a good idea. Long-term investment, when you have a lot of money to play with, is a better avenue and a better stance to take at that time when we're looking at trying to do some cost savings from a financial business manager's perspective. I don't know if this is the greatest time for us to be looking at a long-term investment.
I think that is a wonderful response. And I think we need to move away from this. We're wasting a tremendous amount of time, tremendous, at these meetings over this. Can we please agree to let's let this go? This is not the time. The time may come in the future, but it's not now.
Yeah, I got to agree.
Go ahead, John.
I got to agree. I came into this with a much more hopeful perspective that we could come away with this, but looking at our finances, the only two things here, and I know we're going to do a straw poll, that make any sense to me at all, because we have to do it anyway, would be envelope and water, and it's the smallest of the two. I mean, the returns for the other large expenditures take too long, fundings are tight. I mean, the only thing that makes sense, we gotta keep fixing the building, we gotta security outside, we gotta cut down on drafts. We're looking at a big long-term expenditure. I mean, if there's some way to reap some benefit out of this, the only two things that in even the smallest thing that makes sense to me are the water and the envelope. The lighting and the solar, it's too cost prohibitive right now. The return's too far away. We have spent a lot of time on this. We did our due diligence. I don't like the way it looks anymore. I know we're gonna do our straw poll. That was just my 2 cents. I gotta agree. We looked, we tried. Thank you. That's just my thinking. I'm sorry.
I don't know, I'm not sold on it either. Now, there's a couple of projects here that we can do, you know, on the side, that make some sense, but don't cost a ton of money. I don't know, water and some stuff. The paybacks weren't very good, but I'm not against something like that. But the whole project, a little much. Plus, I still think there's some open questions.
I agree.
With the feedback we've received from Honeywell, if you recall, they did a pretty robust analysis of these 4 areas. You know, I don't want to commit to this and put anything, you know, added work on our O&M team, but many of the building envelope and water and some of the lighting even, some of those projects we can do in-house.
Okay.
Have we paid Honeywell anything to date for this work?
Not yet.
I thought we were on the hook for a $100,000 study or something.
Just under, yeah, 94, yes.
So we are paying that?
We will, if we decide to move forward with any sort of the project that's built into the project costs. If we decide to not do any of these portions, we'll get the full results of all of those things that we don't have from our current architects, and then we will own those. And down the road, if we want to do things in-house, we wanted to look at using a third-party vendor for any type of ideas. We have all of that information readily available. We can give that to somebody, and they can take care of that work.
How do we get to the point of spending this much time if it wasn't the recommendation of the administration?
That was the discussion of solar panels just historically, of exploring this. There's only 3 of us, maybe 4 of us that was on the board when this really first came up, or it was explored, it was discussed. It's prior to you guys' time. There was, to say no one stood behind it, that's the only reason it stood behind it, because when it initially brought forward, someone did. They're not here anymore, but
Someone board member or someone?
no, the prior superintendent brought it to us as an option. And it carried forward because at that time, it was a reasonable option to explore. And that's why it's still there.
And if I just intervene, I would mildly disagree that I don't think this was a waste of time. I think there's good dialogue here with the board, a robust discussion. Certainly it has gone on for months. I think our views, when you say, is that the recommendation of the administration? That was the question asked of our CSBO. The administrative team wants to present this as an option.
Administrative team meaning you?
Well, me, I mean, I'm the superintendent, so I mean, I've been going along.
Okay.
So my point is, I believe that this was a worthwhile exercise to try to kick the tires, so to speak, on this. You know, depending on what we've learned along the way and different questions that the board members have brought up, you know, that's all part of this process as we go along to see where are we today. Ultimately, I think the board should decide one way or another where we should go with this, because it's a long-term investment. You guys know better than anyone some of the financial challenges that we're facing. Is this the right time? Is it not the right time? You know, there's a possibility, even though this, let's say the federal tax credit goes away, there has been some talk that perhaps the state may bring up down the line some credits, because let's be honest, solar is an initiative that we've seen, you know, statewide and nationwide. So, so I'm not here to say, you know, the recommendation. I mean, I agree with Doug, but it's one of those things where I think we needed to look at this from a variety of perspectives, and I trust this board to kind of decide, okay, are we going to continue with this, or are there parts to continue with, or whatever? So just a different perspective on it.
John and Leo, you was around too. We kicked it around because the product we was going to get at the very minimum was an assessment of our facilities that was going to be provided as a part of this. And if at the very least, if all we have is that and we choose not to go, that's still a viable product. And it's work we don't have to recreate doing or redo doing other projects. Even if we don't do the solar, to get that product out of this, we saw at that time this was still a worthwhile effort to kick around. It was never decided we were going to move, but that still was a product we could live with
Are we
coming out of
taking a
this if
straw
we
poll?
don't go away. So
Can
that
we
was
please call the
that's the
question?
reason why it was
Yeah.
still there and
Well, there
going
were still
on.
a few questions, so, I mean, are we good with a straw poll?
That was still.
At this point?
I agree. I think we could call a straw poll here,
Okay.
and let's just move on. I think we've all made our decisions.
Go ahead.
I was just finishing answering her question.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
If I could. So
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
That was
And
one
being-
before I was interrupted.
Yeah,
that's
being
what
new,
that's what was going on.
Yeah, being new, I appreciate the response to that because in my experience, if you get to the point of asking the board
Yeah.
for a vote, the administration is strongly standing behind what they are presenting. And so if things have changed, I just want to be brought up to speed.
I would normally, sorry, I'm going to extend it a little bit. Give me 1 minute. I haven't said much tonight. I would agree with you normally, and that's typically how things happen. This one's a little different in that, it's a substantial cost. There's a lot of things to consider. So we feel like we've kind of been doing our due diligence, not trying to sway one way or another with this one. Maybe not typically how things are done, but in this case, that's kind of been our approach.
And I agree with, that's how this whole thing started, although some of you weren't here. And we're finally at the point where we have the information to make a decision, and I agree, it's time to call the question, and let's move on.
Was this presented before the STEM wing? I'm just curious.
No,
Okay.
Should we take the straw poll now?
we're done, I hope.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Benson, do you want me to lead the straw poll?
Yeah, why don't you?
All right, I'd like to, again, informal, all the things, but straw poll on the portion that is the lighting energy
Are we
saving.
voting individually on these?
Straw poll, very informal.
Lighting, we're going to, four parts. We're going to vote on
four
lighting,
times.
then yes.
Yeah, is that okay? I mean, just
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay.
all right. In favor?
Yeah, in favor, and anybody particularly in favor of this?
Of the lighting?
Of the lighting portion only?
No?
No.
Anybody yes?
All
Okay,
right, keep going.
we'll keep moving to the next one. The building enveloping.
Yeah, for me.
1, 2.
Yes.
I
No.
I would say yes for envelope, because we got to do it anyway.
Yep. Is that like more insulation and caulk or something, or what are we talking about?
Yep, the exterior of the building. Yeah.
Exterior of the
Yep.
building. Well, that as a cost-saving project, it's questionable, but I kind of agree with the fact that you're gonna have to do it anyway. It's just a general maintenance, if I, understand what we're doing here. Okay, so I mean, that's kind of a,
So a yes or a no read?
all right, the envelope's a yes.
I just have one more question for clarification. Are you asking for a straw poll or whether or not we go with Honeywell or whether we do it? Because I think I heard you say that our team could do some of this stuff for.
Good question.
Okay.
This would be that I would tell Honeywell to put together a contract for the building envelope. To the second part of your question, do I believe that we can either have some of our own people do some of this work in-house once we get the full write-up and the analysis, and/or outsource some of the work at a reduced cost, I do believe we could do this in-house and with other third-party
All right, well,
vendors
then-
for cheaper than
If that's the
74.
case, then I'm a no.
Well, yeah, they're right. I'm a no too. If we, hire some summer help and take care of it.
It'll be more than summer help, but yeah.
Well,
If we could do it ourselves, then it's a no.
No.
It's somewhat simplistic, but you know what I'm saying.
Then I'm a no.
Yeah, if we could give some.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. Water?
No.
No water? Oh, okay. never
Any
mind.
yes?
I'm a yes with the water.
I'd like to do the water.
it's-
Give them those feel goods.
It goes back to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
We got to start doing something to
Yeah.
improve, to move our operation and maintenance costs from the direction that it's going.
Yeah.
It may not be this project, but it's a sizable cost that's going in the wrong direction.
Oh, the water?
And we're gonna have to spend to bring down those month-to-month costs. There's no other way around it.
Well, I go back to the earlier question. Doug, do you think this is something we could do in-house based on this information, or should we drop a contract with Honeywell?
I do believe that some of this work we can do
Then I'm a
in-house.
no.
Yep.
With looking at the fee structures and the profit and things like that, I think we can do smaller contracts and over time, and I think we can do some of this
Get to
in-house
the
as
same
well.
place.
Yeah.
All right.
Then I'm a no.
And don't have to pay pay the commission.
Solar?
No.
No.
Couldn't even get that swallow down.
So I am.
Not a good time to take a swing. All right.
So I'm getting the feedback that I'm going to reach out to Honeywell after tonight and say that at this time we're not going to pursue
No, thank you.
Yeah, I think-
anything for the June 24th
I
board
believe
meeting.
that is correct.
Okay.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Thank you.
So we just saved ourselves some time in the next meeting too, right? Okay.
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
Okay, consumable materials.
Now what?
We talked about this. We talked about this last month. This is just
Supplies.
the final estimate, and we are going to be asking for a vote to approve this.
Okay,
28.
so we will see this later. Thank you.
Jose.
Just one. There you go. All right, Board, under the Affordable Care Act, we have to assess every year if our part-time employees qualify for insurance benefits based on the number of hours that they worked this past fiscal year, 25-26. So we have 8 part-time employees that were eligible going into July 1st of 2026. 5 of them are opting in, and 1 opted for vision and dental only. So just so you guys are aware.
I'm going to speak briefly about the consolidated district plan. Each year, the district completes one combined planning process for several federal grants. The plan allows us to align the funding with our unique priorities in the district, our student needs, and federal expectations. So the goals for the State Board of Education involve student learning, learning conditions, and elevating educators. The grants support these broader goals of improving student learning, creative, strong learning conditions, and elevating educators. In essence, in our plan, which is in your packets, we're connecting the funding to student outcomes, school climate, and staff support. So for an overview, the consolidated grant covers all of these grants. They support instruction and training, language service, student enrichment, and special education, and it leads to coordinated support across the district. When we complete the plan, there are a lot of components. These are all of them. But to ensure that the plan's compliant, we use student data. We complete a needs assessment. We get stakeholder input. There was a Title I parent compact meeting a few weeks ago. And then we complete program-specific requirements of the plan. So for the process, just a quick overview. Phase 1 is that you approve the district plan, and then we can complete our assurances and submit to ISBE, develop the budget, and then submit the final grants. Are there questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
I didn't see the amounts.
So we don't, like for this year, this past year, or
No,
what we're
for
expecting?
What we're expecting, yeah.
I have the allotments from last year. I do not have what we're expecting.
We have not.
We don't know, I don't think yet.
We have not heard from the state and federal government, so what we'll
That's,
be receiving for Title 1, 2, 4, and IDEA yet.
that's surprising, because I've got mine.
Yeah, not yet. Have you submitted your CDP?
No, but we're doing the same presentation to the board, and I've got the totals already. But
I can let you know what they were for last year if you're interested.
it's okay.
Okay.
I just wonder.
Okay, there's no other tonight.
All right, next item is consent agenda. May I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as discussed, as presented?
I'd like to request removing the personnel report from the consent agenda, please.
It can be done as a separate vote, but not under any kind of discussion in open session.
I made the request. It has to be removed.
Yeah.
I acknowledge that, but it can't be a discussion.
Okay.
Motion? Anybody?
I'll make a motion with the removal of the personnel report.
Second. Second.
Roll call?
Radzinski,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Abstain.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. May I have a motion and a second to approve the personnel report as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I move to divide the question, please.
In what manner?
In what manner?
We follow Robert's rules. It's in our policy that when things are, so I would ask that the board president consider appointing a parliamentarian to help with these issues. So dividing the question, what I would like to do is to have a vote on each individual personnel issue as opposed to taking them all in one blanket.
Does anyone else feel this way? I don't feel that.
I don't feel that way either.
I mean,
Anybody else?
No, it's gonna take longer.
Quite a bit. Yeah. Any other opinions?
No.
I've just got a question for clarification. There are 8 numbers on the personnel report. Are you asking to divide it into the 8, or are you divided it into each action within the 8?
The 8, each action within the 8. So I'd like to have 8 different motions to approve the personnel. So what you're doing by not taking the motion, number one is that I'm making a motion, so you do need to vote on it.
You need a second.
True. So in that vein, what I'm asking you to do by dividing the question is allow us to vote on individuals. Otherwise, I'll just have to vote on no on everyone. So it's up to you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I kind of recall a similar question last year. Of course, it's a different board this year. But if I recall, we didn't split it last time.
Is there a second?
Is there a second to that request? That motion?
I'll second, just to see what happens.
Call the vote on the question.
I don't have all of the separate, just gotta pull it up.
Well, we got to vote if we want to agree with this. We have a
Yeah.
motion and a second, so we need a vote.
Did we vote on the motion?
Can I have we have a motion
We
and
have a
second?
motion and a second.
Can we
to
have
make it an eight. We need a roll call.
can we have a roll call?
Radinsky,
No.
Figueroa,
No.
Miller,
No.
Goodrich,
Abstain.
McCullough,
Yes.
White,
Abstain.
I'm sorry.
Abstain.
Oh, thank you. Lewis.
No.
It's interesting that this board's not willing to consider this. We do have a history here.
I'd just like to note, it has been our practices and our policy regarding items and issues within the consent agenda that vote and that when there's issues or concerns, that they're brought prior to so that the administrators and everyone can be prepared to make those adjustments and do that prior and be prepared at the meeting to do such things. So the consent agenda, there's no issue with that. Can I have a mo- so that
I'd
can
like
be
to
done?
address that, please. I choose to do the work of the public in the public forum, not behind closed doors and having conversations prior to meetings. And it is my right, under Robert's rules and board policy, to have an item removed from the consent agenda for further discussion. So please don't tell me that I need to behave a different way, because that's not accurate.
Can we call?
Personnel report, can I have a motion and a second to approve the personnel report as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Goodrich.
He stepped out.
Okay. McCullough,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Radinsky,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Discussion item.
Could I just pause real quick? Part of the consent agenda was Jose Jaramillo,
Yes.
who was resigning. However, he is hired as Assistant Superintendent at Joliet District 86. And I just want to thank you for your years of service here, Jose, and congratulations on the new position. Bittersweet, but just wanted to acknowledge you and your work here this evening. So,
Thank you, Dr. Benson. I appreciate the support from the board and this administrative team. Best of luck to you guys as well moving forward, but I really appreciate all your support the last 5 years here at Fenton. Thank you so much.
I'd like to ask, Jose, in your new role, what will your new role be? It's the same role. So
Yes, sir.
lateral move?
Yeah, same role, 20 schools,
Okay,
so much bigger district.
I see.
So yeah, it's a bigger role. It's also closer to home,
Okay,
to be very honest, my home where I grew up. So
thank you.
it's part of the decision as well, yeah.
okay.
You're going home. Hate to lose you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Okay.
We voted on the personnel report.
Next item is discussion items. Next item is summer curriculum hours. May I have a motion that the Board of Education authorize administration to utilize the requested 2026 anticipated summer curriculum hours as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
That was you, Figueroa, correct?
Yeah, that was Leo. He seconded.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Goodrich,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item is summer workshop hours. May I have a motion that the Board of Education authorizes the administration to utilize the requested 2026 anticipated summer workshop hours as presented?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
White,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item is extended employment. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the extended employment request for summer 2026 as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item is the 2026-27 consumable materials. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the 2026-2027 consumable materials and textbook replenishment proposal as presented?
Motion. Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Is this that $7 million that we saw up here a couple of slides ago?
7 million?
7 million.
Oh, I saw something.
27,000 maybe?
What was it? There was something,
Yeah.
Not in replenishment, though.
well, no, well,
Consumable
that's part of my
materials.
question. I saw something up there, 2 lines that came up there.
Yeah, we did go through it. Yeah.
Workbooks and binders and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the amount
It's
again?
28, about
Yeah,
28,000.
I thought it was about 20,
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
28,140.17. It's the consumables,
What's the consumable supplies?
$27,000.
Okay. I'm good.
Go ahead.
Next item is a motion to.
Wait, we got to vote.
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah, good.
Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yeah.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Your $7 million messed with me. No. Next item is motion to approve the 2026-2027 school treasurer appointment. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the resolution appointing the school treasurer as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Sam, could you? provide
Yeah,
discussion?
yeah, I mean, Doug Wilds is a recommendation for
Well,
the
that's-
school treasurer
Oh,
appointment.
yeah, it's the
right.
same thing we did every year for.
Right,
police.
Yes.
right, yeah.
Every year.
Yes, we didn't, yeah, correct.
Okay, I'm good.
Roll call.
McCullough,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item, school treasurer surety bond. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the resolution approving surety bond of treasurer as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Was that Goodrich motion? Miller
Any-
second?
Yes.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Goodrich,
Oh, you want to talk?
No, your vote, yes, no?
No, he says.
Oh, I just wanted a brief summary of the surety bond. As the treasurer for the district, you get bonded and
Make sure you behave.
correct.
No, I got it.
And in DuPage County, it's typically 10% of the bond. You're bonded for about 10% of the high water mark of cash on hand in the district.
Okay. I'm good.
Thank you. Roll call.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item is the 2026-27 student handbook changes. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the 2026 to 27 student handbook changes as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Discussion. I forgot to mention earlier, I don't have a problem with the language as is, but maybe bring back a second revision to include the use, something regarding the use of AI glasses.
Okay. I don't think we've considered that yet.
Yeah,
Hit me
we,
again with that, do it.
AI glasses, they.
Oh, yeah. It's been
I actually have
controversial.
some on, but you can record, you can have it read your paper, it'll give you the answer to the test. So I think we should also add something.
You make a good point, because I know that's been something discussed about in District 2, the feeder district.
Do you, okay, that's what
My district approved the policy, so if you like a copy as a reference.
roll call.
Figueroa,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item is IGA with District 2 concerning student records. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the IGA with District 2 concerning student records?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Sam, can you
Just a quick explanation.
Yeah, I was going to ask for an explanation.
You got it.
Thank you.
We've been working with District 2, with Superintendent McCluskey. We've had some model language going back and forth to formalize, obviously, the transition to students when they come from District 2 into Fenton. Records come over, but it further clarifies what types of records come over, what should not be exchanged. And so this has gone through both attorneys, been going on for a few months, and wanted to get it approved here this evening.
Is this a yearly thing or just?
I don't think so. I think it's intergovernmental agreement, so I think this is something that we haven't had something as formal as this. So, and also I'm working with District 7 also to come up with something similar.
Thank you. Roll call?
McCullough,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item is IGA for police services. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the IGA for police services as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Sam?
Yes, so I've been working with the police chief in Wooddale on this since Wooddale provides the SRO for our building. Basically what happens is there was some updates in the law that occurred, and so we have an IGA with Wooddale, and so what we did is we took those updates and included that in the IGA. One example is the law that came down was basically that police officers could not ticket students on school property. So that's something that we include in the IGA. It's just an example, but there's a few things like that that we needed to clean up the language to be compliant. In similar fashion, this has gone back and forth between attorneys and is approved by both sides, and was actually approved by the Wooddale. Anyways.
City Council.
Yes.
So this is just bringing us in compliance.
Yes. So we're asking for your approval so we can officially have this IGA in place.
Roll call?
White,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Do we have any committee reports?
Bensenville Community Foundation will be meeting tomorrow, so we'll have an update next board meeting.
We did have a NetSec meeting. It was the end of the year meeting. One thing of note is there's also an interim CSBO. Someone you may remember, Bruce Martin, who was hired as the interim CSBO at NetSec along with the two other interim directors. So
Good for Bruce.
yes, okay. So that's NetSec.
I attended the LEND meeting last week, and they provided some further legislative updates, and it seems like they'll go down to the wire like they do every year downstate in Springfield with determining how they're going to navigate evidence-based funding and the state aid that the state will provide, whether they'll put a little bit less money in evidence-based funding and a little bit more in those mandated categoricals that Dr. Benson has mentioned before, things like transportation, food service, et cetera. Again, some House bills that are still on the floor, and we'll get more information and finalized information at the end of session, which should be at the end of May.
Thank you. Our next board meeting, new business, tentative finance facility committee meeting prior to the regular board meeting. Next scheduled Board of Education meeting is Wednesday, June 24th, 2026 at 7 p.m.
Can I add something to new business?
Go ahead.
I've been on the board for several months, and we are, I've yet to see anything significant regarding student achievement. I know ACT just happened, and so for the next board meeting, is it possible to get some type of academic report regarding our college readiness standards, things like that?
Yep, we can definitely give some ACT updates, and we got some preliminary access data also, so we can share it. There's still some recalibration going, but we could share that probably along with some map data too.
Yeah, ACT recalled all their scores,
Yeah.
and we have not heard any further.
It's supposed to be June 1st.
Yes, so as long as that happens, then yeah.
But 9th and 10th grade should be okay.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Dr. White, are you asking for that more regularly? I guess
Well,
a clarifying question.
both. For next meeting, especially because school is coming to a close, but I think our agendas are not heavily swayed to the reason why we're here, which is the education of students, and so some regular update on teaching and learning would be what I'd be interested in.
We can certainly do that next month. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
I'd like to add to new business two things. One is I'd like the board to include on the next meeting agenda the possibility of appointing a parliamentarian so that we have somebody on the board who's prepared to address issues related to questions around Robert's rules when different matters come up. And the second thing I'd like us to consider as a board is having the personnel reports broken out from the consent agenda and having a policy in place to vote on each of those individually. I am the one who made the request or made the motion or moved to divide the question last year as well. And I find it very interesting that the board has no interest at all in who I would vote no. And I just think you're limiting a board member's voice, and it makes me wonder, is it on purpose? So, it would take 5 minutes to run through that, and it might raise some questions. So it's interesting that there's this a lack of interest. So I would like us to take up for discussion the possibility of breaking the personnel report out separate from the consent agenda and voting on the personnel matters individually in the future.
Certainly put it on the agenda.
As a board member, I would want to know who someone is going to vote no on.
May I have a motion and a second to go into closed session for the following? A, 5 Illinois CS 120/2C1. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of Fenton Community High School District 100. B, 5 Illinois CS 120/2. C2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employee. C, 5 Illinois CS 120/29, student disciplinary cases. D, 5 Illinois CS 120/2C11, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the findings shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting.
Motion.
Second.
May I have a roll call?
Rudzinski,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, we're in closed section.
Cheers.
May I have a motion and a second to go back into open session?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Wait, who said second? Oh,
Reed was second.
thanks. White,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, we're back in open session. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn? All